seem to be very dark. Hello. Why is it so dark? Yes, it is dark. Why? I don't know why this is so dark. Because the light's on. No, it's not gonna work. Okay, so here I am in the dark. Nothing else changed except I scheduled this to be at 8 o'clock Georgian time. I don't know. I mean, I got the cheapest web camera available. To place behind the webcam. I don't have a light. Anna, do you know why it's dark?
What?
The webcam, it's dark.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm. So, what are you reading? Yeah, when I tested it earlier, there was no problem. Now, I don't know. appealing to the youth, yes, but the youth doesn't seem to know how to help. And the other youths are fighting in their room. And just Googling webcam dark. Physical obstructions, no physical obstructions, camera settings. Settings. Okay, that looks better now. I turned it off and turned it on again. And it seems to work. So how are you? Oh, I'm Jim. This is my channel, my live channel. Books, reading, stuff. What are you reading? I'm reading a whole host of things. I'm reading, well, I say I'm reading this, Cryptonomicon by Neil Stevenson. I'm not really reading this. Well, not really reading this. I've read 230 pages, but I haven't read anything for a few months now. That's my mammoth from March. Drop any comments in the chat, particularly if you're here, because I've had some technical issues. When I came on, it was very dark. I don't know why. I'm also reading The Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. Has anybody read this? I'm about halfway through. They haven't got to The Lighthouse yet. I don't know if they ever will, but it's an interesting read. I've also got The Bicentennial Man, Isaac Asimov. This is a collection of short stories. I used to read Isaac Asimov a lot when I was a teenager. I haven't read any for decades now. I wasn't too impressed with the first two stories here, but from the reviews I hear the title story, the titular story, The Bicentennial Man, is very good. Hi Jesse. Where should one start with? Virginia Woolf? I don't know. I have a few. I started with Mrs. Dalloway, which was written 100 years ago. It was published in 1925, and now we're in 2025. And this tells the life of one day in the life of Mrs. Dalloway. She prepares for a party. It's between the wars, and one of the characters has got PTSD. It's an interesting read, and it's very modern. It's very stream of consciousness. There's this, A Room of One's Own, where she talks about women and writing and why it was very difficult, particularly in the 19th century, for women to write, because she says they needed their own income and they needed a room of their own where they wouldn't be disturbed. This is very good. And I also read Orlando, which is a strange one, where the central character changes gender, and the central character lives over 2 centuries as well. It's an unusual book, but I like Virginia Woolf. This one is set on the Isle of Skye, and it's an extended family who are on holiday, and their thoughts, they wonder whether they should go and visit this lighthouse or not. She's an important writer. What are you reading, Jessie? As it's Garb August, I also have this, which is very trashy. Dreams Die First. And from trash to literature, I'm also reading Han Kang. Han Kang won the Nobel Prize for Literature last year. She's a Korean author. I think she's the first Korean woman author to win. I'm reading it on Kindle. We Do Not Part by Han Kang. It's about these 2 women. Hi, Margaret. And the description's very dreamlike. One of them is a carpenter, and she's chopped off the tips of her fingers, so she has to go to hospital, and she gets her friend to go to the island she was living on, Jeju Island, to rescue her birds. And when her friend gets to the island, there's a big snowfall, and she gets stuck in the snowstorm, and she has a great trouble getting to the house. And it also reflects on the Jeju massacre in 1948, where thousands of Koreans were killed because they were thought to be communists or harboring communists. Yeah, turning it off, turning on again, that worked for me. And also for Garb August, I'm reading Criminolese, compilation Garbology. I've just read Ollie's story in here. What's my favorite genre to read? My comfort genres are historical fiction and police procedurals, but I like to read outside my comfort zone many times. Virginia Woolf, this literary fiction, this modern literary fiction, is outside my comfort zone, but I enjoy that. Garb and trash, this is outside my comfort zone. Dreams Die First, this is a very big bestseller in the 1970s, but the central character, Gareth, is modelled a little on Hugh Hefner and his rise to fame in California with his empire of strange magazines and casinos and everything. As a teenager, I used to read a lot of science fiction and fantasy. I don't read so much anymore. Fantasy, I don't like being committed to reading series, and a lot of fantasy books are in series. Would I recommend visiting Georgia? If you like mountains, yes. If you like cuisine, yes. If you like the Georgian dancing, yes. It depends what you're looking for in a place to visit. If you're looking for art and architecture, I'd go rather to Italy or France. If you're looking for great beaches, I'd go to Turkey or Greece. But if you like mountains, the mountains here are fabulous. Hefner Lake, yeah. I don't know a lot about Hugh Hefner. This I've read about half of it. It's very salacious. There's a lot of drugs. I was surprised that the central character is bisexual as well, because this is the 1970s, before the explosion of LGBT material. But it's interesting. And this one is out of my comfort zone, being such a large volume. Hi, Daniel. Guilty Feet. I'm trying this out because today, new webcam, which I want for Zoom as well as for live, but just to see it. There's a lot of shenanigans, voter shenanigans going down in Alabama and the county in Georgia. I can believe it. There's a lot of gerrymandering that goes on in the elections, both in the UK and the US, to try to get the person in power re-elected. It's Chronicon, it's Cryptonomicon. Totally worth the effort. Thanks, Daniel. As I say, I'm on page 223 of 910. I read another book by Neil Stevenson, if I can remember what it's called, Snow Crash, which is about virtual worlds, which was a normal size book, like 300 pages or something. I really enjoyed that. But this one, there's a lot of cryptography in it. It's historical fiction as well. Oh, hi, Mick. It's okay, no problem. Welcome. I had some technical issues at the beginning, so it didn't go off as planned at the beginning because I was very dark, so I had to turn the computer off and turn it on again, and it seems to be working now. Pina. I don't know. I've never met another Pina. And autocorrect likes putting peanut when I mention your channel, but it doesn't understand my accent. Here I keep a list of all the books I read in the year. I put the title, the genre, the date. Sometimes I'll add things. If I put a 1 minute review, I put 1 minute reviews of all of them. The last book I finished was A Close and Common Orbit by Becky Chambers, which was science fiction, which I really enjoyed. I've had a good run of 5 stars recently. Our Song by Anna Carey, which was contemporary romance, which is outside my comfort zone, but again, I really enjoyed it. It was about 2 band members, and they're in Ireland. There's Laura and Tig, and they were in a college band together, but then Laura went to get a sensible job in advertising, and 16 years later, Tig has become this megastar, and he's emailed Laura out of the blue to finish a song with him, and it sort of rekindles the spark between them, that they're not only romantic soulmates, but they're also creative soulmates. They're good at writing songs with each other. And before that, I reread Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice. Jane Austen, July. Yeah. You worked in IT. Have you seen the IT crowd? I've been watching that recently, and they're always saying, turn it off and turn it on again. It can be useful when things don't work, but it takes a long time for my computer to warm up once I've turned it off. I'm not very au fait with technology. I like using it, when it works, but when it doesn't work, I start to panic. Also read Under a Black Sky by Inga Wolf. That was Danish noir, but set in Alaska. A Danish scientist was killed in Alaska, and a Danish detective goes to Alaska to try and find out what's happened. Au fait. Tout à fait. Before that, I read The Dinosaur 4, which was not a 5-star, that was a 3-star. It was a cafe in Denver, which was suddenly transported back to the Cretaceous period for some strange reason, which is an interesting premise, but I think they could have done a lot more with it. Dinosaur 4. Because it didn't describe the Cretaceous period very much, and the 10 characters who were in the cafe that went back to the Cretaceous, none of them were particularly well developed as characters. Pride and Prejudice, you okay? Yeah, Jane Austen's books. This is the one that worked the best for me. I've read 4 of her novels now. This was the first I reread. I haven't read Sense and Sensibility or Mansfield Park, but I think if you can't get on with Pride and Prejudice, then maybe Jane Austen isn't for you, because I think this is her best work. There's a lot of humor in here. There's a lot of side characters, and Lizzie Bennet is such a wonderful central character. She's a YT strategy question. Yeah, you can ask anything. This is an anything goes live. Emma. Yeah, Emma's my second favorite of Jane Austen's books. Emma has the heroine that's not so likable, but I quite like Emma because she comes from a wealthy background, Emma, and she's quite clueless about how things work. She thinks she's this great organizer trying to matchmake for everybody else, but she's not good for matchmaking for herself. I enjoyed Emma. I don't know which is better, Margaret, whether to put them all together or in monthly chunks. Yeah, watch time is not the big thing on this channel because most of my videos are very short. I do the 1-minute videos, and the watch time on those is about 40 seconds, and my watch time is really low. So I don't know the best way to get watch time. I guess the bigger the video, the more likely it's going to get watch time, even if fewer people watch it for the full length of the video. And there's a trend, there's 2 trends on YouTube, one to go much smaller and one to go much larger, because people are watching on televisions, so they want longer than the traditional 10 minutes, they want an hour-long video, and there's that trend that's happening now. Yeah. I mean, you could try both ways. You could do a couple of 10-minute videos on different weeks and then put the full one out and see which one does the best. This is my Georgian shelf. One of the things you can see it's live. This is the Georgian language, and my Georgian is not great. So this is a children's book in Georgian. Yeah, landslide. but I like the pictures. And this is a story. 1992 was when there was the war here, the Abkhazian War. But I also landslide. Like reading books written by Georgians which are in English. This one, The Forest of Memories, Nato Kipiani. For a long time on Goodreads, the only review on Goodreads was the one I put there. I don't know if this book is available outside Georgia. I think not. It's published by a Georgian publisher, Intellecti. Some Georgian books are available outside Georgia. This one did quite well. Leo Radiashvili, Hard by a Great Forest. On the cover, this is Tbilisi, this Narikala fortress, and this is the old town of Tbilisi. For me, this was just a 3-star, but this has got quite a few people reading. Please ask any more questions, bookish questions or video questions. Any questions about Georgia? This is the most famous book in Georgia. The Knight in the Panther Skin by Shota Rustaveli. It's like the Georgian Canterbury Tales or Hamlet or something. Print, digital. I think I'm reading more ebooks than print books because print books are expensive. Ebooks, I don't buy ebooks if they're more than $2.99 because you don't. With ebooks, you don't actually own the ebook, and I don't like the idea of paying a lot of money for. Yeah, it's Kindle. I don't like the idea of paying a lot of money for data. Hi. Greetings from Taiwan. The Disappointed Man. His name I forget, but you're a fellow English teacher. Yeah, there's definitely a story of me being in Georgia. 1 second. Margaret knows the story of me being in Georgia, but I came to Georgia for 3 days. I was invited to a wedding in Georgia. This was me at the wedding. This is Hatuna. Hatuna was put with me at the wedding because she spoke English, so she could explain what was happening. And we got on very well. When I went back to England, we stayed in touch. And the next year I came back to Georgia and we got married. It's one of those, meet cute situations. That was the day we met, which is almost 17 years ago now. Georgia, the mountains are very beautiful. This is a scene in the Georgian mountains with me and my wife and Khevsureti. The mountains here are higher than the mountains in Switzerland. We have 3 peaks over 5,000 meters. In the Alps, even Mont Blanc is less than 5,000 meters. The Caucasus are very high mountains. If you like mountains, Georgia is great. There are a lot of people come over from Poland just to visit the mountains. The food, yes. I saw a list of the cuisines of Europe, and Georgia was ranked number 4 out of 48. Number 1 was Italy. Number 2 was France. Number 3 was Spain. Number 4 was Georgia. Number 5 was Germany. UK was number 13. Ukraine was something like 34. The last, number 48, was the Vatican City. But Georgian food, we have ingali. Ingali are these dumplings. They can have either meat filling or vegetarian filling, and they're boiled, and they're very popular. Turkey should be in the top 5. Yeah, Turkish food's good. I don't know where Turkey was in the list. Greece was number 9, and Greek and Turkish food are quite similar, but don't tell the Greeks and the Turks that, because they have problems with each other for some reason. Maybe it was the Ottoman rule. Here are my granddaughters and my wife making some Georgian food. They're making some dough. I think this dough is for the potato pies. They put like mashed potato and herbs and surround it with dough and then bake it. It's quite a popular dish. And hachapuri, which is like a cheese pie. Yeah, Georgia is 4th. If you look thrill list top European cuisines, Georgia's number 4. But Georgia has a very diverse cuisine, and each region has its own special cuisine. Georgia is also famous for wine. They say wine was first created here. There's some dispute between Georgia and Armenia as who made wine first. There's lots of disputes between Georgia and Armenia. It's a sort of neighborly feud. But there's evidence of wine making here from 8,000 years ago. So, and they have a lot more varieties of grapes than they do in France for the winemaking. Tokac. I'm not sure about Tokac. Tokac, is that Turkey? Tokay. We also have some interesting wildlife. You're into vultures. We have 4 different vultures that live here. I've only got this book on vultures because I know the author, Lexo Gavashvili. We went with him to David Gareja in the south of Georgia, and he was showing us all these different vultures you can find in the Caucasus. And we also have bears and wolves, and there has been one sighting on a remote camera of an Iranian leopard that came across, but it's probably gone back to Iran now. Slovakia, yeah. We're not in Slovakia here. I've been to Slovakia. I like Slovakia. This is me in Bratislava in Slovakia with my friend Napoleon. That was like 20 years ago. Yeah, before I came to Georgia, I didn't drink alcohol. Now I do drink wine on special occasions like weddings and New Year, Christmas. Apart from that, I still don't drink beer and spirits. On my birthday, I drink tequila, but only on my birthday. Other times I don't drink spirits. So my alcohol knowledge is quite limited. I do like the Kinsmaruli, which is a red wine from Georgia. I think it was one of Stalin's favorites as well, but that's not why I like it. Stalin is probably the most famous Georgian. This is Martin Amis's book of him, which portrays him very negatively. If you want a good book about Stalin, this one I enjoyed, The Young Stalin, by Simon C. Montefiore. It's well researched, but it only goes up to Stalin up to when he becomes the leader of the Communist Party. So it's about his childhood and his youth, his erratic youth. He was quite the gangster. Can you hear me okay? I don't know what the sound is like. I'm just speaking to this webcam. My shelf has lots of stuff. The sound is good. Thanks, Annie. Yeah, there's lots of stuff on the shelves connected to the books. This is for Dune on the Range. You've got the cowboy here. And for March of the Mammoth, you've got the mammoth. Okay, I'm glad the sound is good. This is encouraging. One of the reasons I got this was not just for YouTube, but for Zoom, because I had some technical issues on Monday with Zoom, with the camera on the computer that didn't work properly. Lots of stuff. London, this is the city of my birth. So I look, business expense, yeah. Yeah, if I did anything like that. Yeah. Life of a Stupid Man. This, for some reason, did very well when I did a 1-minute review of this. It's strange, the 1-minute reviews have done really well. A lot of the time of the books I don't particularly like. This, Akutagawa, it's a lot about contemplating suicide. And you have a favorite reading genre. I like many genres. I said before, my comfort genres are police procedurals. I think this was because my parents used to watch lots of police procedurals on TV when I was growing up. Everything from Columbo to Z-Cars to Wexford, all sorts of police procedurals. I also like historical fiction because history interests me, all sorts of history. Geography interests me as well. Books I dislike. Yeah, I didn't like this one very much. Probably the book I like the least is this one, The Secret of Another Desert. Unfortunately, this is Iyaka Gratelli. It's romance. It's set in Egypt. It's about a Georgian girl that goes to Egypt and she's kidnapped and she gets this Stockholm syndrome and she falls in love with her captors, and it's very badly written, lots of mistakes, things like at 13:00 a.m., and just it's full of grammatical mistakes. And the central character, there's nothing to her. She's just Georgian and that's it. There's no development of the character. This is a book I didn't like. I don't usually finish books I don't like. James Ellroy, yeah, I like James Ellroy. I like urban fantasy as well, particularly the Dresden Files. I've read the first 3 and I'm told it gets a lot better. And Harry Dresden's this wizard detective based in Chicago. And I started reading some Hemingway. The first Hemingway I read was The Old Man and the Sea, and I didn't like that. I found it really tedious, but I like this one, Farewell to Arms, set in the First World War, and I like the one that came before this, The Sun Also Rises, where it's traveling about the Basque Country in Pamplona. When I was a teenager, I liked science fiction and fantasy and horror. I don't read a lot of those anymore. I still read some fantasy. You can see Crooked Kingdom here. I haven't read this one. I read the first one, The Six of Crows. So this I have to get to sometime. Too Many Magicians. I don't know that one. Locked Room Mysteries. Yeah, I like mysteries. Good. Agatha Christie. This is the size of book that feels comfortable. It's 267 pages. This is comfortable. This is a kilo. This is not comfortable. This V. Schwab is probably my favorite fantasy writer at the moment. I read her book set in London, something of magic, not the colour of magic. There's a red London, a black London, a grey London, and a white London, and you go between the ones. Grey London is like our own London set in Victorian times. And red London or white London is where the magic happens. Darker Shade of Magic, that's the name. I've read 4 of the books from the Darker Shade of Magic. I just couldn't. I think it's what's it? Elder Moments. My dementia's starting. I bought this one recently, The Secret History. I read this back in the 90s, but I want to read some more dark academia, so I thought it was time to reread this one. It's unusual to find books I'm interested in the shops here. It's quite random, the selection of English books. Classics is usually okay, but anything contemporary or even backlisted is more difficult to find. Abby, do you want to say hello? Abby? This is our dog. This is our beagle called Abby. Abby? Abby? Say hello. We've also got all of Anna's teddy bears here as well. A lot of stuff. And there's also lots of cars on these shelves. This is a Maserati. Abby, yes. Abby is 5 years old. She's had 3 puppies, but I don't think she'll be having any more. And Anna, do you want to say hello? This is Anna,
Hi.
Genuine Georgian, my granddaughter. She's been busy working today.
Yeah.
Something more interesting than us. The dog or Anna or... This was the first book I read in Georgian. Deda, Mama, Lva Baushvi, Da Saguro Mankana. Father, mother, 8 children, and a truck. This was actually written by a Norwegian, translated into Georgian, and it's for children aged 7 to 9. I should read some more books in Georgian too. My Georgian skills are not very good. And I had a look at this one as well. Georgia, the country is about the same size as Ireland. It's 70,000 square kilometers. Population of Georgia is just under 4 million. It had 5 million when it became independent, but lots of people left Georgia to get better jobs in Turkey and Greece, in Russia, Europe, America. There's not a lot of prospects for bright young Georgians here, unfortunately. And the way the government's going, it doesn't look like it's going to be very good in the future. But we will see. Things can change. She won the fighting youth. I don't think she's fighting much. Does Georgia have a reading culture? They have a lot of old books, and a lot of the important places in Tbilisi are named after their writers, but most of the writers are poets, like Rustaveli, Chavchavadze, Tabidze. And in schools, a lot of the Georgians learn these poems by heart, but there doesn't seem to be a big reading culture. I think they're like everywhere now. The kids are all on their phones. Some of them, they're reading small things on the phone, but they're not reading novels. Although there's some authors, like John Green is popular here. This was very popular with the teenagers here, the 49 Stars. It's about these two people who have got cancer. They meet in a cancer ward, and there's a bit of a romance between them. It's quite a sad read, but it's sold a lot of copies here. I think it's been translated into Georgian as well. And I have some books that have been translated into Georgian. This is Ready Player One, the Georgian version. I haven't read the English or the Georgian version, but I don't know how I got this one. And this is two books of H.G. Wells translated into Georgian, The Time Machine and Waterworld. Georgia have a cafe culture like Turkey? I don't know if it's like Turkey. There are some bars in Tbilisi, but they're more international, more expat things. Georgians like to get together with other Georgians and make barbecues. Or now in the summer, they go out and have picnics. And they do have some cafes here, but I don't think it's like Turkey. And Turkey, they drink a lot more tea than here. Yeah, this talk about historical fiction. These two are historical fiction books I really liked. Tracy Chevalier, Burning Bright, set in 1790s in London, and Fingersmith is like a feminist retelling of the Oliver Twist. Tea and backgammon. Backgammon's popular here. When you come out the metro stations in some of the areas like Vakatili, there's the old men playing backgammon. They also like chess. Georgian women have been very good at chess. Nino someone or other was the chess champion for a long time, the women's chess champion of the world. She was from Georgia. The men in sport, they tend to be good in strength sport, things like weightlifting, judo, wrestling, MMA. These are sports they like in rugby. They're good in rugby. They're not so good in sports which require more finesse. They're just good in the strength sports. And there's skiing in the winter. There's 4 ski resorts in Georgia: Godauri, Bakuriani, and Mestia, and there's one in Ajara as well. I can't ski. I've just been to Bakuriani, one of the ski resorts, off season because it's much cooler than Tbilisi. Here it's quite hot at the moment. It's going to be over 30 all every day this week, 30 degrees Celsius, which is it's going to be over 100 degrees Fahrenheit for Americans. Okay. I know Mark, Book Time with Elvis, I think he has a live on now. Do you have other questions? 30 to 86. Yeah, 30 degrees is 86, but here it's about 35. So what's that in American? Yeah, tomorrow it's going to be 35 degrees. Yeah, I don't like 35 is too much for me. Sunday it's going to be 37 according to the forecast. Yeah. When I came to Georgia, I thought I'd have problems with the winter because I imagined being a Soviet Union, ex-Soviet Union, it'd be very cold in the winter, but the winters are fine. It's the summers that's too much. Ouais, yeah, c'est trop chaud pour moi. L'été, ici, July, August, it's really too hot. And if we can go away, we do. My wife is currently away in Raja, in the mountains, so she has a week with her friends, and it's much cooler there. Whoa, moving boxes, doing any physical activity in 35 is too hot. Too hot. Flooring. I've never done flooring. I imagine it's not something I want to do in this temperature. I also have some books for learning English, which are bilingual English and Georgian. I should use them for learning Georgian. This is Moby Dick. This one side is Georgian and one side is English. So you can follow that. I need to brush up my Georgian. Yay for the webcam. What's your new webcam? My new webcam? It's this. It's called Canyon. It's some cheap Chinese one. It was the cheapest one in the electronics store. Because, yeah, I don't need high specification, and because it's August and I'm not doing much teaching, I'm not getting much income in, so I can't afford a flashy webcam. So it kind of works. So it's Canyon web camera C2. But it was 59 Larry here. 59 Larry, it's about $20. It's probably cheaper in America. A lot of things are cheaper in America. Things like these Hot Wheels cars. In America, these can be like just $1 or $1.50. Here they're like 10 Larry, which is about $3. Yeah, it seems to be working fine now. It's just when I started, it was really dark, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's a problem with the computer or the webcam or something else. But the turning it off, turning it on again worked. Okay. I think we should call it a night or whatever. If you want another live, I think Mark at Book Time with Elvis is doing a live now from 9 till sometime. Well, 9 this time. I don't know what it is your time, because I don't imagine, because here it's 9:10 in the evening. We're 3 hours ahead of UK at the moment, and a long way ahead of Oregon and California. Okay, thanks for joining, and see you again sometime. Bye.